Welcome, survivors, seekers, and thrivers. I'm your host, Shari Lee Roberts, psychic medium, energy healer, and living proof that you can transform your pain into power. Each episode, we dive into trauma healing, developing your intuitive gifts, and reclaiming your life. Get ready for real stories, deep wisdom, and a little laughter along the way.
Welcome, everyone. I have an incredible guest today. The comparable Corbie Mitleid.
Yes.
Highly intuitive has been helping people spiritually for, she tells me, 50 years, yet looking at her, I'm doubtful that can't be. She is not only highly intuitive, but a certified tarot card master, psychic medium, teacher, which she says is the most important thing for her, an ordained minister, and has authored books telling people, and rightly so, to get out of, yep, and here is one of her biggest books. Okay, tell us who this is.
You mean the little interrupting problem here?
Yeah.
I have 3 cats. 2 of them are Maine Coons. Obviously, this is not. This is Harley Q Pouncy Bounce, known as the Ginger Ninja. He is our rescue. We saved him from a Bronx crack house where they only fed him every few days after they got their drug money. But he is now up here in the Catskill Mountains living the life of his dreams and very plump.
Love that. Understand animal lover. Awesome. So today we are going to embark on a conversation that most are not willing to have. Yet, my oldest daughter asked me a couple of days ago, Mom, do you tell people you are spiritual, or are you Christian? And that really made me stop and think. I told her, oh, I am spiritual 100%. I have not supported or agreed with traditional religions. In fact, some of the most hypocritical people I've met identify with some religion. So, welcome, Corbie. Thank you for being here. Welcome.
It's good to be here.
So, talk about being an ordained minister to when you said, wow, no, it's not for me. I am spiritual.
All right. Well, first of all, the reverency, if you will, is non-denominational, and that's deliberate. But I'm going to put that aside and roll things back. I mean, I was brought up a nice Jewish kid in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, typical 1960s. But over the years, I have watched most religions not live up to their billing.
Yeah.
And sometimes go exactly the opposite. We are not made in God's image. God is made in ours, which is why some people are Christians, some are Muslims, some are Buddhists, some believe in Ralph the Wonder Dog, because it's how they can understand God. God is so ineffable, if I can borrow the word from Aziraphale in Good Omens. If you think about it, we are little cockroaches running around on the skin of an unimportant planet in an unimportant solar system at the ass end of the universe. And you think that the one who put all that in motion cares whether you eat fish on Friday or you eat treif instead of kosher? Or please. When we think in us versus them terms, which most religions do,
Yeah.
when we have to be special in order to be important, then that's when religion comes forward. For instance, I very much believe in the Christ consciousness, which has been down here several times. Jesus just happens to be the famous suitcase thereof. And I tell people, I do not care what version you believe in. All you really need with me is three things. Somebody up there loves you, wants the best for you, is willing to work with you. Now, that doesn't necessarily say the big guy, girl energy. Do I believe that there are actual beings between the ineffable and us? Angels, archangels, avatars, higher self? Yes. But I do not, it would be like you're saying, I have a personal religion with a slug or an ant. And people look at you and say, of course not. They don't have the brain power to understand you. They don't care. They're in their own little world. So spiritual means we know that we're not just our bodies. Spiritual means there is a part of us that goes on. And if we are in this body, it should be for a purpose. And it's a matter of working within the duality of now. There is no duality outside the body. It's all encompassing. And when people can understand that, I say, okay, think of a white room, white carpet, white walls, white furniture, white curtains, only white keys on your white piano. You have no word for purple. It's not there. The Eskimos have 250 words for snow, but not one for palm tree. It's not there. We literally don't have the language to talk with the ineffable, but we can talk to those that are a little bit above us. And in a sense, that's how mankind, has made an understandable religion, because mankind needs a thing they understand for people to be able to simply empty the no thing mind the way really good Buddhist meditators can do. It's very hard. Most people won't find comfort in that. And that's the other thing. God is comfort. Either I need a hug, God, thank you, or be mean to them because I can't be. Give me an excuse to hate them. Give me an excuse to kill them, to steal from them, and feel good about it. The prosperity gospel is the exact opposite of everything Jesus is supposed to have taught. You know, you had, what's his name in Texas, Joel Osteen, this massive, massive mega church. And when there were the massive floods, Harvey, I think it was, in Houston, he locked the doors of his church. He didn't want to let anybody in, even though they had been flooded out of their houses. On the other hand, there's this guy who owned a furniture store with a lot of mattresses, and he'd open it every night for people to come and leave sleep.
Yeah.
Now, Joel Osteen is the big guy, leader of this prosperity gospel church with his 12 cars and 27,000 foot house and end. But the guy who has the mattress store is practicing what the church teaches that Jesus said. Yet, in this worldly world, Osteen is the one who's rich, because people want to believe they can buy their way into heaven. They don't want to do the hard work.
Yeah.
It is easy to hate in this world. Easy. Because mankind is good at it. If he wasn't, we would not see what's going on in the world and be at the verge of collapse. I won't say World War III, but collapse. We would have cherished the earth and our environment. We wouldn't have said money is God and we don't care how many rainforests we have to cut down, how many laws we have to break with pollution. Being spiritual, to me, looks at what is behind the religious mask to what makes it tick in terms of what we're supposed to do both in and out of the body. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally. And it is my experience. So you talked about Joel and, you know, the other people. Tell us at what moment you went from being the minister in front of a congregation where you were honest at that moment of what you believed things were, to saying, wow, This is not at all what I know now. I am a minister in this human experience, but I am learning and knowing so much on the other side that the two are in conflict.
It's actually the exact opposite.
Wow.
I became a non-denominational minister because I felt people needed something they'd understand. Now, how far back do I go with questioning? I remember when I was in fourth grade in Hebrew school. And remember, this is a conservative Jewish synagogue. I went up to our rabbi and I said, Rabbi, you say the earth was created in 7 days, but my science teacher said it took billions of years. Which one of you is lying? I had no filter. I was kicked out. That was
Wow.
my first understanding that don't question religion, except I do. I always have. I have mucked about with just about every religion you can think of to see what was truth. I mean, for a while, I went to a Quaker school when I was a kid. My best friend was Catholic. I was Jewish. Um, I had friends who were Wiccan, Buddhist, but nobody was, I'm right and you're wrong. Nobody could convince me of that. So the reason I did the non-denominational minister, not enough coffee this morning, is because people need that reverend to believe you. So that's a comfort thing for them. Also, when I went down past the Mason-Dixon line when I was doing Psychic Expos 45 weekends a year, they would look at me and say, you're evil, you're doing fortune telling with them cards. And I'd say, oh no, I'm a reverend and I do spiritual counseling. Oh, Rev, we're so sorry. You go right ahead. God bless you. Protective coloring. The other thing is, before it was the law of the land and could be with the current Supreme Court soon again, I have lots of friends who, as I say, bat for the same team. They deserve sacred ceremony around their unions, just like your typical male, female, straight couple. And as a non-denominational minister, I can do that for them. I have had funerals for stillborn children where churches would not do that, and
Wow.
I would. So I call myself a hedge priest. No congregation, but I just travel the roads and go do what they need me to do where I am needed. It's, if you will, my version of the Buddhist monk with a begging bowl. I don't need a congregation to tell me that I'm all that in a bag of chips. I don't. I'm doing the work. With all of the psychic work, I tell people I am not here to amaze you with my wiki woo. I could care. I am here in service. That's why I do the work. That's why I chose the last name that I have. It is not my legal name. I call it my Elton John name because everybody knows he was actually Reginald Dwight before he changed his name. Corbie is Gaelic for ravens. They're the birds I love. And Mitleid is German for compassion, to always remind me why I'm doing the work I'm doing. Am I going to change the world and how it looks at religion? Oh, no, no. I am 70. You can look like this. The two magic words are no children. Takes 10 years off your looks right there. And do work you adore, which I have done for decades.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm meant to do. I was talking with a very dear friend of mine who is world famous for her fantasy graphic novels. And she feels like, she's winding down. I'm the exact opposite. At 70, I am hitting my stride as an elder, passing on what I've got to the younger generation. And I keep telling people I intend to work until I'm 2 weeks dead. I'll flip the sign to spirit guide, keep my office. That's it.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. So, what are you driven now to do until 2 weeks before you move on?
Oh, it's 2 weeks after I move on. I say I'll work
Oh,
until I'm 2 weeks
okay.
dead. What it is, I am here for that. Look, I had a vision when I was 13 in 1968 of what is happening now. In the middle of the street, saw cities on fire, knew it was America, and that is why I don't have children. I knew in that moment if I had children, they would not have a normal lifespan. And so at 70, having been through 3 bouts of breast cancer, 2 divorces, great poverty, abuse, a dysfunctional household, an abusive mother, there's nothing that anybody can come to me with that I haven't seen or won't understand. So right now, when everybody is so scared, it is my job to keep them steady, not to feed them baby pablum, to say, yes, it will be hard, but this is what we need to do to move things forward and change. You mentioned that I'm a certified tarot master. That's because I have been reading cards since I was in high school in 1973. But one of the reasons that I'm as good as I am is I understand the allegory in the cards. And what I'm doing right now is looking for one particular card that scares the patooties out of everybody who sees it. And that card is called the Tower. They see this and I think, oh my God, doom, gloom, and destruction. No, I get people to look at this and think about the imploding sports stadium. Okay. The Boston Red Sox want to build a new sports stadium. They have to blow up Fenway first and clear the ground. And that is where we are. I told people on my TikTok channel yesterday, there is no healing what we used to have. That's gone. It will never come back. So now we have to accept that everything needs to be cleared away and rebuild.
Yeah.
I frankly think I may be a little bit like Moses on the mountain. I will see the beginnings of it, but I don't think I'll live to see the full flourishing of America 2.0. I don't. But as an elder, I give them what information I can. Notice, elder, not a boomer. It's a very important switch. Boomers are the ones that say, we had the greatest music, the greatest cars, the greatest fashions. Why aren't you blah, 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 blah? Well, it's because when we were in high school, we never worried about being shot dead with an AR-15 in our classrooms. We never worried that the world would be uninhabitable in our lifetimes.
Yep.
We never thought that we would never be able to make enough money to not only buy a house, but even get married and have a baby.
Yeah.
We trusted that the government had some semblance of care about us. Gen Zs and Gen Alphas have none of that.
Nope.
So we as elders need to get off the spotlight and let them take it. If they ask us for information, we give it, but we don't tell them what to do. And we are what I call third trenchers. Now, where does that come from? In World War I, there were 3 trenches. The first one, they went over the top to fight. Second one was reserves. But the third trench had food, had medicine, had things for repair. So elders, as a third trencher, if someone wants to do an event to feed the homeless, we pack the food and we do the dishes. We let the millennials, Gen Zs, and Gen Alphas plan it, talk to the press, do the social media, get the spotlight. And a lot of boomers don't get that, and they need to. Our time is off the stage now. Let the others have it.
Yes, definitely. What advice do you give to the non-boomers that will help them save themselves and humanity? I'm a boomer, the last year boomer. So, yeah,
I think
what?
they're calling you Generation Jones now. They've split us up. 45 to 55 is Boomer, 56 to 65 is Generation Jones. No, I don't know why, but there you are. Names are
Oh,
nuts.
I know why. And what's what? But for everyone else, what can you tell them that will resonate?
Okay, couple things. Number one, please know that 4 words trump 3 words. Use them.
What?
I believe in you trumps I love you. Because you can love someone and not believe in them, but when you believe in them, you absolutely love them. Telling someone I believe in you, if you really do, is terrifically empowering. Number two, just look at someone and say, how can I support you? Not how can I help you? Because that's just, that's what somebody at 7-Eleven would say. But how can I support you says, I am willing to meet you where you are and help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. It's very different.
Yeah.
And I always encourage people to ask themselves 3 questions. What am I X about? X can be afraid, depressed, enraged, confused. Then you say, why am I X about that? Dig down as to why you feel the way you do. And if you get to a point where you go, I don't know, smile at yourself and say, if you had to guess. Because when we guess, we're probably saying what we really think, but we're not worried about we have to be 100% right. And once you dig down to what your gut is about a certain situation, if you aren't pleased with it, ask yourself the third question we never ask. What do you think would happen if you stopped being X about that?
Mm-hmm.
See, what are we enraged about now? We're enraged about how the American government is not supportive and falling apart. Why are we enraged about that? Because we're used to having a government that listens, because it's not helping people, because it's all going to the billionaires, whatever. And you say, what do you think would happen? You stop being enraged about that, which is very important. Because some people think they have to be enraged in order to do anything. And others realize when you stop being angry about it and you simply decide how you're going to move past it and through it, you get more done without the rage. But what did Khan Noonien Singh say in Star Trek 2? Revenge is a dish best served cold. And that's the whole thing. When you're angry, you can't think as clearly. Your ego is driving things. When you look at what you want for everybody else, not because you think they should all not have abortions, you think they should all not be married, but what you hear people crying out for, you realize, put the rage aside. It's not going to help you. You focus on what needs to be done. Now,
Okay.
I'm not saying rage is wrong, but I'm saying feel it, but don't let it run things.
So you brought up Trump and you're associating a lot of the negativity of what is happening today with him.
Certainly with the government the way it's being run. You can't say him because will the government automatically go back to where it was when he's gone? No, it won't. So he is not the cause. He's a symptom, a big one.
Well,
Like,
I agree in a way, but not at all like you think. So, you're saying that under Joe Biden and the current liberals, that all of their anger and proliferation of fighting and just allowing the illegals to harm us, just anarchy. You're cool with that.
no, not at all. But the thing is, that's where nobody, that's why it needs to be totally taken, everything. Democrats, Republicans, it was all done in the name of what's comfortable for us. I'm not going to be here to discuss who's right and wrong with politics, because in America, no matter what you say, someone else is going to give you a death threat over it. No matter what you say, which side. Okay. What I know is I am down here to do my work, to help people try and find the best part of themselves. Why do we have undocumented people? Because in other areas of the world, there is fear and greed and murder. So it is not that America is so pure as the driven snow either side. It is that humanity itself is so deeply flawed because they all see me, what I want, us, as long as you're thinking like I am. There are some wonderful things about being the smartest beast on the planet. But there are so many other animals that don't kill for the joy of it, who understand that killing something is not meat to be wasted. You use it. So what I'm saying is we have a tipping point at this point where not even the good parts of what we had before can be healed. You have to take it down. You have to reconstruct things. If you look at many of the European countries, you may say they're socialist, but people are fed. People are fed. A perfect example, Canada. You get pregnant, you have a baby, you go, you have the baby at whatever hospital you want. You have a good amount of time, maternity leave. Doesn't cost you anything. In America, you can be bleeding out, but doctors are now afraid to help you because lawyers could sue them and put them in jail. You don't have insurance. You know, one of my prescriptions, 83 cents every 90 days for me because I have Medicare and a backup insurance. That same 90-day prescription, if you don't have insurance, is well over $400. Why is it one and not the other? It is that kind of cruel behavior. And every political party is guilty of it. That has to be set aside. Because within 100 years, this earth is going to be extremely different. There are going to be parts of the earth that are uninhabitable because of heat, drought, floods. And the old idea of greed, I want and you can't have, is not going to make it. If all the vaccines, all the medications, et cetera, are either made illegal or can only be afforded by the wealthy, you're going to see people dying in the streets again. That's not progress. I can't solve all the world's problems. If I did, maybe I'd start a new religion. All I can do is be one person, doing the best I can, where I can. I have a picture up on my bulletin board of Teddy Roosevelt, one of my two favorite presidents. And he says, do what you can with what you have, where you are. That's how I live. Yeah. My husband and I are not at all rich. We have a very, very tiny little house in the middle of a hayfield in rural New York State. You know, I have relatives that are multimillionaires, but I went a different direction. I left corporate in the mid-40s to do this intuitive and ministerial work full-time. Does it pay our bills? Yeah. Gets the bills paid, puts food on our table. Not much more, but that's okay. Because what I do is more important than whether I can strut a new car every 2 years or something.
I had to come to terms or realize that same thing. I was corporate, made 120,000 a year, and then lost everything, only to realize what you said, that living our purpose is not material. It is God, or whoever you think the divine gives us everything we need to do what we are meant to do. You said that beautifully. You did. Thank you. In closing, with all of your wisdom and books and everything you've done for listeners, what is your message to them?
I often tell people it's fear versus fame. Fear equals false evidence appearing real. Fame equals full acceptance, means everything. Do you want to be fearful or famous? When you refuse to accept what's in front of you, you're like a little kid sitting on the ground having a tantrum. I want the
Yeah.
Oreos and I'm going to sit in the cookie aisle until I get them. No, you're going to get dragged out. You can't get it wrong, because karma is not bad and good. Karma is what you came down here to learn. The book I did with Robert Schwartz, 5 things: healing, service, contrast, unbalanced energy, and healing of beliefs.
Yep.
And think about life like college. You can come down here with things that you want to learn. Your soul says, I want to learn about treating women equally. I want to learn what it is to trust in the abundance or whatever. Okay. So that's like a college major. I want to be graduate with physics. On the other hand, you can choose gut courses or double major plus lab. That's free will. You could do it easily, or you could drive yourself. But I did gut courses, major courses, 2 majors plus lab.
Yeah.
And at the same time, while it was hell to go through, it has truly equipped me to do what I'm doing, which I might not have been able to do had I had an easy life.
Yeah.
So no sense in regretting it. What are you going to do with what you got?
Yeah. And as you said, we all come here with agreements of what our soul wants to learn and experience to grow. Once you come to terms with that, you look at every experience differently.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. You are awesome, and keep on shining and helping others, and everyone else who knows you, who have been helped by you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. If today's conversation resonated with you and you're ready to explore your own healing journey or intuitive gifts, I'd love to work with you. I offer psychic medium readings, energy healing sessions, and intuitive development guidance at shariroberts.org. And if you're not quite ready for a session, but want to be a part of the conversation in a supportive community, join my private Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. This is Shari Lee Roberts. Until next time, remember, you're never alone. Thank you for listening. If today's conversation resonated with you and you're ready to explore your own healing journey or intuitive gifts, I'd love to work with you. I offer psychic medium readings, energy healing sessions, and intuitive development guidance at shariroberts.org. And if you're not quite ready for a session, but want to be a part of the conversation in a supportive community, join my private Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. This is Shari Lee Roberts. Until next time, remember, you're never alone.